Hi and welcome everybody. In this video I would like to talk about pivot tables and what is the benefit of pivot tables and of using pivot tables. So the background of using pivot tables is to reduce the number of dimensions in the dataset. Why is this important? This is important because high-dimensional data is hard to understand. And you need to reduce the number of dimensions contained in a dataset to a lower number to extract information out of the data. For example, to detect trends, patterns, and other kinds of interesting aspects of your data. So let's give me an example. Let's look at this data contained in the spreadsheet. This data is about sales figures. So we have in the first column, the column labeled months, we have the name of the months. In the second column, we have the columns labeled product. We have the name of the product. Products are different coffee blends or coffee sorts, coffee types. And in the third column, labeled state, we have sales regions. Sales regions, these are American or states, different states in America. And the final column, the column D, contains the sales information. Sales of a given combination of months, product, and state. So this is the sales aggregated across combination of months, product, and state. So this data set has three dimensions: the time dimension, the product dimension, and the state dimension. And extracting information out of this data set is complicated because of the high number of dimensions. And pivot tables now enable us to reduce the number of dimensions from 3 to 2. How can this be done? So let's, for example, assume we want to aggregate all the sales numbers across the months for any combination of product and state. And this can be done using a pivot table. So we include in the spreadsheet a pivot table by going to the Insert button available in the menu line of tabs. So we go to Insert and then we see a toolbar, and to the left of the toolbar we have the entry Pivot Table. Go to Pivot Table and take the first line. The first line is from table range. So we go to the first line, and then we have to insert the information contained in the spreadsheet. So the data range where the data is contained in the spreadsheet. In my case, this is from cell A1 up to cell D 225. So the data in this database goes from cell A1 up to D 225. And then we mark the box labeled New Worksheet because we want to contain the new pivot table in the new worksheet. And then we can press OK. And within the new worksheet, we see to the left an empty box and to the right an area which is called Pivot Table Fields. And now we have to drag the corresponding pivot table fields in the areas as we want to the pivot table look like. So we have 4 pivot table fields corresponding to the name, to the label of our columns. And we want to aggregate the information across months for each combination of product and state. So the first thing is we select product and drag product down in the rows area. And then we press state and drag state down in the columns area. And then we mark sales and drag sales down into the values area. Just one time, not 2 times. So in the values area, now you see we can change the format by reducing the number of decimal places, going to the context menu, going to number format, selecting number, and then pressing OK. And now you see you have a pivot table, or we generated a pivot table which contains, for each combination of product contains in the rows and region contained or state contained in the columns, the aggregated sales figures aggregated across the dimension time, across the dimension months. So all of these entries here are aggregated sales figures aggregated across time for a combination of column. Column is region or state, and row is product type. So recall, pivot tables give you the possibility to reduce the number of dimensions in a dataset to a lower number. And lower number means you get data within the pivot table which is more easier to understand, to extract information out of this table, to make comparisons across time or across regions or across products. And this is more easily done if you reduce the number of dimensions. And this can be done, as we explained in this video, using pivot tables. That's it for the moment. Bye.